So in this video, we are going to be talking about how to get the Abyssal Whip, as you can see right here. Now, there is going to be two different places that you are going to be looking for the specific NPC in order to get the mats to create this. The very first place is going to be right here in the northwestern part of Bramblemead Valley, with this long path that's going to lead into the western part of the Whispering Swamp. Now, here you will find an Abyssal Demon. This Abyssal Demon is easily beaten by himself. Basically, you're going to continue north into the swamps, and you'll look to your right and you'll find a nice little camp right here. Now, here's where the Abyssal Demon, this is kind of like his stomping ground. So you'll see him running around in this area. Now, if you want to cheese it the way I did, basically you just have to kind of get the high ground. And the way I did it, I just jumped up here on this little broken up building. And then the Abyssal Demon cannot attack you. So you'll be able to use your bow and shoot down on him from up here. Now, once you defeat the Abyssal Demon, he will drop the mats required in order to build the Abyssal Whip minus one specific material. Now, that specific material that you're going to be missing is called ram horns. Now, these ram horns are going to be found obviously on Ram over here in the storm-touched highlands. Now, the easiest way from Fractured Plains to get into the storm-touched islands is to hug the left side of the map right here. There's not a lot of enemies, and you'll be able to just come in here and kill yourself a ram. You'll see these ram right here. Do be aware that they are aggressive and they will attack you. So once you see a ram, basically you're gonna need 4 ram horns. So kill 2 ram. Each ram should drop 2 horns, and then you can head back and you will have everything you need to craft the Abyssal Whip. So here I am back at my house. It is very important to note that in order to craft this whip, you are going to need a smithing anvil. This took me a little while to figure out. However, if you don't have this anvil, you won't be able to craft the Abyssal Whip. In order to create this anvil, you are going to need to follow a couple quick steps. The first step going to be creating a kiln. Now, this kiln is very important because it's the starting process of a lot of different things that have to do with the furnace. So the kiln is going to burn down certain items, as you can see right here, namely ash log to create charcoal for the furnace. And you probably guessed, the next thing that you are going to have to create is the furnace. Now, for the kiln, you're going to need ash log, stone, clay, and fire runes. You're going to want to grab clay from the Whispering Swamps. The clay is going to be like typically on the edges of these mountains, even sometimes on the islands. Grab some clay and you're going to use that to create the kiln. Now, you're going to also want to put down a furnace because you're going to need the furnace in order to craft bronze bars. Now, in order to craft the furnace, you are going to need stone, clay, charcoal that you get from the kiln, clay that you get from the swamps, and you'll need 8 vault shards on top of fire runes. After you craft the furnace, you are going to use that charcoal as burning fuel. On one side, you're going to want to put copper ore. On the other side, you're going to want to put tin ore. Once you put those two in there and burn it, you will create bronze bars. Those bronze bars are going to be used to create a smithing anvil. The smithing anvil will require 6 bronze bars, 20 ash logs, 8 coarse thread, and 1 vault core that you get from the dungeons. Now, the coarse thread, if you're having problems trying to craft coarse thread, if you use flax seeds and a spinning wheel, the flax is a 1-for-1 that is going to give you coarse thread. Now, once you build your anvil, do note the anvil needs to be covered. It can't just be outside in the open elements. You will be able to scroll down and find the Abyssal Whip, which is an amazing weapon, and it is also a level 4 weapon. You're going to use the spine, hard leather that you got from killing the Abyssal Demon. You should have got 10 ram horns, vault shards, and a vault core to create the Abyssal Whip. This Abyssal Whip is absolutely amazing, as the basic attacks are actually pretty freaking strong, on top of the special attack knocking down and or stunning enemies, which you use with your middle mouse button. Another thing that I really love to do with this Abyssal Whip, if you enchant it with your air enchant, it makes it really fast and really hard for the enemies to stop you. As you can see, this is the regular swing. And this is after you enchant it. Yeah. That's actually crazy. Now, there is one more abyssal demon that I wanted to throw in here in case anybody was wondering, because once you kill an abyssal demon, they do not respawn any longer. So the abyssal demon should drop enough to make 2 whips. However, there is another abyssal demon that is going to be here in the Blood Blight Swamp. Now, do note that when you go into the Blood Blight Swamps, you will start taking poison damage. So in order to negate that, you will want to create anti-poison potions. Now, in order to create anti-poison potions, you are going to need a brewing cauldron. In order to create a brewing cauldron, you need ash logs, coarse thread, rune essence, and clay. Now, after you create that brewing cauldron, you'll see you have 3 slots here. The first slot, you are going to want to put Harlander, which is these plants right here. They are blue and they are found in the swamps all throughout. Now, remember, they are the blue ones and they are kind of rare, so you are going to want to pick them up as much as possible, because those Harlander plants also help you craft health potions that you see up here at the top right. After you get the Harlander plants, you're going to want to place them in the first slot. The second slot, you are going to want to place the bitter cap mushrooms. The bitter cap mushrooms are also mushrooms that you will find scattered around the swamps, and they are very easy to pick up because they give you a bunch of mushrooms at once. Next, you are going to need a clay vessel. Now, in order to create this clay vessel, you are going to need a pottery wheel, which also needs to be covered. By the way, these 3 things need to be covered: the brewing cauldron, the pottery wheel, and the smithing anvil. That's exactly why I have them covered. However, in order to create the pottery wheel, you're going to need ash logs, stone, and coarse thread, which is pretty simple at this point. After you create the pottery wheel, you are going to get a 1-for-1. So you're gonna find clay, which you will find also in the swamps. Big surprise. They're red nodes that basically you will find along the edges of these mountains and sometimes on these islands throughout the Whispering Swamp. Once you get the clay, you're going to want to put the clay in here. Then you'll get an unfired clay vessel. Now, in order to fire it up, you just bring it to the kiln, you place it in here, and it will fire it for you. It will create a clay vessel. That clay vessel is going to be your last ingredient to create anti-poison. Once you put all these in here and burn it, you will receive these weak anti-poison potions. Now, you do want to make sure that you take these with you when you go into the Blood Blight Swamps, because you will immediately begin to take poison damage when you go in there. Now, the best path that I found to get into the Blood Blight Swamps is through this little area right here. Basically, you want to hug the side of the map, jump over the wall right here, and you'll be in the Blood Blight Swamps. If you go here, you will find a band of enemies kind of waiting for you at the main entrance along the roads. So if you come on this area of Fractured Plains into the Blood Blight Swamps, which is right here, you will find your path into the swamps a lot easier than if you were to try and go the typical way. So you just want to come down here along the edge, and right here you'll see a nice little crack in the wall where you simply just have to drop down. Now, as you can see, when I drop into this area, I immediately start taking poison damage. Now, once this is filled up, I will be poisoned. However, we were prepared and we got our anti-poison. So now that we're in here, we're just gonna head to this area right here. This is where the Abyssal Demon will be spawned. You can come down this way through these little hills right here. Make a little left. And you will see this area right here, this toxic swamp. This is where you will find the Abyssal Demon. Now, you can use the same strategy that I used in order to beat him in the other place, except you just use it over here. Once you get up here to the top, the Abyssal Demon will not be able to attack you. You can just use your bow and shoot straight down at him. But yeah, guys, that is how you get the Abyssal Whip and where you find the Abyssal Demons in order to create extra Abyssal Whips for your friends.